Hi chemistry students, this is Lori and this is part 3 and the last video in our Introduction to Online Chemistry Fall 2008 series of videos. So in the first video we talked about the welcome unit in Brightspace and how to complete that unit. In the second video we talked about the Mastering Chemistry program with eText package, how to purchase it and what that looks like and how we use it in the course. And in this video I want to move on to Unit 1 and how to get started in Unit 1. Now you shouldn't get started in Unit 1 until you have made sure you have thoroughly gone through the welcome unit and understand the setup and also purchased your Mastering Chemistry package or are registered for the free 21-day trial in the Mastering Chem. Don't worry, when the 21 days are over, all of your homework will be saved, and then when you purchase your package, you'll have access to that again. So let's move on to Unit 1. I'm going to go in through the Content tab at the top of my screen. And I'm going to click on Unit 1, which is after all of my mastering links. So Unit 1, Intro to Chem. And I'm going to make sure that my scroll bar is all the way up because I always want to start at the very top of my units in Brightspace and then work my way down through the tasks. So Unit 1 is our Introduction to Chemistry unit. You can see that the learning outcomes are always listed at the top of each unit, and it's covering chapters 1 and chapter 3 in our chemistry in our Pearson textbook. And these are the outcomes that we are covering. The first place you're going to stop is the learning activities, where you're going to read about the learning activities for this unit. So if you click on that title, it talks about what you should do to complete the learning activities for the unit and what's for marks. So this is a great place to get a little bit of guidance on how to work through each of the units in the course. So check that out. That's under Unit 1, Intro to Chemistry, and it's always going to be the first task in every unit is to read about the learning outcomes. We always start a unit by reading the chapters. So a lot of the study happens within the chapters in your textbook, and Unit 1 covers chapters 1 and chapter 3 in your textbook. As you are going through that, I'm just going to skip the lab for now, so don't worry about these two. I'm going to go down here to Mastering Chemistry Homework Assignment. There is a homework assignment associated with the chapters 1 and chapter 3 of your textbook, and you can get started on that right away. What you want to do is complete Unit 1 homework assignment in Mastering Chemistry, and this is for marks, and you can open it up, you can start it, you can go back. You don't have to complete the homework in one sitting. It's open to you to go back and revise as you go. To access this, you do have to get out of the Unit 1 in Brightspace and click on Mastering Student Links and then go into Mastering Assignments to get access to that Unit 1 homework assignment. Remember that in these Mastering Assignment links, there is also for Unit 1 a for practice section right here, which is not for marks, so that there are tutorials that you can work through to help you with the content in chapters 1 and 3 in the textbook. But it's this homework assignment that is really for marks. So when you want to get started on that, you can do it as you're doing your readings, or you can wait until after you do your readings to complete this assignment. Once you've completed the homework assignment, there's going to be an adaptive follow-up that's available for you to try for more practice, and it's based on any questions that you don't get right in the homework assignment. Let's go back to Unit 1. I'm going to go back to Content, and I'm going to go back to Unit 1. So we have until for Unit 1, we have until September the 28th to finish up the activities in Unit 1. So you really want to plan out when you're going to read your textbook, when you're going to do get started on your homework assignment. You also have separating mixtures lab to complete and submit by this time. The instructions for the mixtures lab is found here. You just click on the title and it gives you all the instructions for the mixtures lab. You're going to complete the lab at home in your kitchen, and there isn't anything that is in terms of equipment that you'll need to buy. It's all measuring spoons and stuff you would use if you were baking. You will need to find some sand, and some places that students in the past have gone have been places like Home Hardware. Some people go to the beach and just grab sand if they're close to a lake or ocean. A playground sometimes has sand as well. You only need a very small amount. So feel free to go find it in nature or sometimes the dollar store has sand or a hardware store. I'm going to go back into the unit. There's more resources in how to write a formal lab report, and you can find that at the very bottom of the content in video and reference materials. If you click on that, you'll see that there's a lab format information sheet and a lab report example. So you want to have a look at both of those documents when you go to write the lab report, and I'll have a little bit more information on that later on this week. I just don't want to overload you today with that information. So here's that, again, was found at the very end in video references and materials, and those documents will help you when you are ready to write up your lab for Unit 1 Chemistry. Then when you're ready to submit your lab, that's what this assignment folder is all about. You click on that, and then you can add in here. Now this is a instructor view, so yours is going to look a little bit different, but there's an upload button and a submit button to submit that lab report. So we'll talk a little bit more about this lab later on once we get everybody through the welcome unit and getting started on Unit 1. So more about that next week. As I said, we talked about the Mastering Chemistry homework. You can access that through the Mastering Chemistry student links in the table of contents. There's a handy dandy test study guide. If you click on that, it shows you the outcomes that are going to be covered in the test. Sometimes that's nice to have as a printout beside you as you are reading through your text, so you can take notes on these focused areas. So have a look at that test study guide in Unit 1. All the units have a test study guide, so you want to check that out in Brightspace. And then we have the take-it-home test, which means that when you're ready to do the test, usually after you've read your textbook chapters, you've done the Mastering Chemistry homework, you've asked me any questions that you have, and you're ready to take the test, you can go into Mastering Chemistry and click on the test and start it up. Now don't open that test unless you are ready to complete it, because once you close it, that's done. You can't access that test again. So just make sure that you don't start the test unless you're ready to complete it. As I said, it's 120 minutes. There's formula scrap paper that you'll want to print off, as it has the formulas that you need for this test, and then there's a space to complete every question. Now for the take-home assignment, it is multiple choice in Mastering Chemistry, but there will be things that you have to do in steps, and it's nice to have a scrap paper there in order to go through your steps with paper and pencil. It's also nice to have so that if you have any questions after the test, you can you'll have a record of the steps that you did, and you can take a picture of it for me and send it to me by email or text if you have any questions regarding your steps and such. Okay, so let's see. Oh, it's not going to let me get back. I'm going to pause for a second so that I can get back. Also, okay, I'm back. So that was the scrap paper that you'll want to print off and use because it has some formulas at the very top that will be helpful when doing the test. Also, when you're in Mastering Chemistry, there will be a periodic table link that you can click on, and there will also be a constants list. And that constant list, if you click on this, you'll see exactly what's on the constant list for you to use. So again, this is a take-it-home test. You'll be doing it at home. You won't need an appointment at your campus test center, but when you do get to Unit 2, there is your first proctored test. So we'll talk about how the process changes when you have to do your test on campus, but more of that a little bit later. At the very end of every unit, there's a Got Questions discussion. This is where you're going to post any questions you have about the unit and the information that is being presented in the unit about your lab that you're going to be doing. If you have questions in the Mastering Chemistry homework that you want to talk about, this discussion group is where to do it. And you just click on the Unit 1 Q&A and it will open up the discussion and you can post a thread to that. When you're done all of this in Unit 1, then you are ready to move on to Unit 2. We do have deadlines for each unit. If you need an extension, please email, text, or phone me 24 hours before the deadline so that you can let me know about that. You do want to stay on pace and create a schedule. You may finish a unit early, that's no problem. And as soon as you finish a unit early, you can move on to the next unit. There are no barriers to stopping you to move on early. You do need to finish one unit though before you start the next. So just keep that in mind. Well, that's it for my video introduction for Chemistry 1046. I do understand that it's a lot of information to absorb at once, so please feel free to reach out in the Q&A discussion or to me via email or text, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. Thanks for watching, everyone, and good luck this week as you get settled into the course. Bye for now.